I'm going to start the March 2017 video diary with this Google map of the area where most of our apartments are. You'll see near the bottom left the supermarket, Mercadona, top right the Didota campsite where many of you go to eat and be entertained. The arrow points to the Mercadona roundabout. Apparently I shouldn't call it that, it's the Rotunda El Barco, and this is where the bus station has emerged, because the Madrid bus, which always went from here, has been joined now by the bus service into Castellón. That now terminates here instead of by the Gran Duque. The Urbano, the Aropesa circular bus service that's always called here, is now run by a different company. The buses seem to be more frequent. It's a much nicer bus. There it is, the Massa bus, on its little journey around that area. And the airport buses also now stop here. We were a bit worried whether they were going to or not in the beginning, but yes, it's official. It's on the sign. The airport buses stop here. So there's 4 services that now stop at this roundabout. So we're expecting a bus station sign to be put up real soon. So if your apartment is in this area, you're pretty well set up, because you've got the Chinese market that opened last year. You've of course had Mercadona here for years, and then you've got all these buses that go from halfway down that street, and right at the bottom of the street by the sea there's the Bellota bar, which many of you frequent when you're here. What was it Hannibal said? I love it when a plan comes together. So welcome to my apartment. This is where I put all the videos together. That's the laptop I edit them on. And this is one of the newest gadgets I have. It's a sound recorder. If you've been following my videos over the years, you'll know that I've never been happy with the sound. I've discovered the professionals always use a separate sound recorder, and then they synchronize them together later, which is what the clapperboard's for, of course. I haven't got a clapperboard, but I manage. So this is the Tascam digital audio recorder. It's stereo. These are the 2 microphones. Unfortunately, they're terrible with wind noise, so when I took this outdoors for the first time, it was terrible. In fact, I'll let you see that later on, because you can just about hear what I'm saying with all the wind. So that's the first thing. If you were watching last year, you'll know that I bought another new camera. This is a 4K camera, and it's completely remote controllable. I'm just hoping it's going to behave for me now. Oh, there it goes. That's just initializing itself. And I showed you this with another photographer using one last year, and I actually bought myself one, as you probably know if you've been following. From this hand control here, you can operate this camera remotely. A tiny little camera. Let you have a closer look. It was designed for use on drones, so this control facility was built for that, so that while you're flying over somebody's back garden, you can actually point the camera down at them sunbathing and take a picture or video or whatever. So that's it. You get to see what's on the screen there, And all that is a mobile phone. Now, if you change your mobile phone every few years and you end up with all the old ones, you might need something to do with them. So there's one use, monitoring a camera, and I've seen surveyors come and do buildings by sticking one of these kind of things on the end of a pole. They don't have to climb a ladder anymore, and they keep something like this on the ground, and they send a camera on a pole up on the roof to have a look at it. So there you go, another use for this CCTV monitor, baby monitor, anything like that. There are apps for that. I use an old tablet in fact, for monitoring my home automation back on the Wirral. I know exactly what temperature it is in the various rooms, I know which heaters are on and off, and what the light levels are, and so on. All monitored on one of these. So that's what you can do. So there's the high-tech stuff. And then of course there was December. Just before I came out here in December, I lent this camera to a friend of mine who's a photographer, and I got it back from him the night before we left. He charged the battery. He hadn't put it back in, so I got out here, no camera. Well, you try and get a battery like that, you just can't. So I found in a drawer a pocket camera, hence the pocket video in December. This is nearly 10 years old now. It's a Kodak HD video recorder. It has its own little screen. Unlike mobile phones, it has a reasonable lens on it, so you get reasonable results with the video. It has USB connections, SD card, all the things that are common now but weren't that common then. And if you go back and look at the December video diary, the only thing about something this lightweight is it's no stability, so you get a lot of shake. Let's bring this thing back. The thing about this is it's a gimbal, has built-in stabilizers, and you get a really steady picture. But that, for its time, is amazing. Well, we all like to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Here's a tunnel that's 600 metres long, and you can just see a light at the end of it. It's actually the tunnel on the disused railway line between Benicassim and Oropesa, Playa de la Concha. It's called the Via Verde, which I've never seen translated before, but apparently for the English it's called Greenway. I think it's about 5 kilometres long, runs all along the coast. Nice scenery on the way, but make sure that you've used the public conveniences before you set off, because there aren't any, and it's an hour or two depending on how fast you walk. You could also cycle it. I went along it a few days ago, and here's some shots that I took on the way. Oh, and by the way, this is the bit where I used the voice recorder and the wind destroyed what I was saying, but you'll see what I mean. This is one of the towers along the Via Verde, which is the green route that runs from Oropesa to Benicassim. It starts at Playa de la Concha, and comes out by the Miramar Hotel at the end of the beachfront in Azahar. I'm just wondering whether to go up this tower. There's a spiral staircase, looks a bit hairy. I'm in the tunnel, and as you may have gathered, I just passed a rather large school party. You didn't expect them to be quiet, did you? A final look at the Google map for the area this month, and we're pointing now at the street where I live, which has become a sort of semi-commercial street with shops and businesses as well as all the apartments. Let's first look at the bottom of the street. There's a huge parking area here that's not really used. It is going to be used during the Fib. Danny from Dan Asp has been made the official transport provider for the festival this year, and he plans to have all the coaches parked up here ready to go. Moving up the Costa Caribe side of the street, you'll see the tapas bar which I featured last year. That was busy. It's now closed, but there's another branch in Oropesa. Then there's some property businesses, the little mini market, which again only opens in the season, and then a piece of wasteland. So let's go over to the other side that a lot of you know where Be Free is. To the right of Be Free, there's the business that I showed you last year, maybe even the year before. It's got 500 odd apartments to let. And then they've been cleaning up some of the other empty commercial units, and I gather there's a baker interested in coming here. To me, that's great, because I love the smell of fresh baked bread. To the left of Be Free, there's a great long series of units which Spa were interested in for a while, but that went somewhere else. And now the DGM group have got it. DGM do a lot of maintenance of apartments around the resort, and the windows you can't see through obviously house their workshops and spares and so on. But further along, towards the far end, the shop that used to be opposite, a large shop selling all sorts of electrical gear, LED lighting, washing machines, the lot. In fact, I did a quick walk past so you could have a look through the window. Even in the middle of the winter, the street's looking busy because there's DGM vans, staff cars and all sorts of things parked in the middle of the road. And even if there's no one in the apartments, these units are in use. Just to the left of the next entrance into Costa Azahar 1, there's a couple of units that have always got the grills down most of the time, but people do go in there. The inside is all kitted out with partitions. It is in use daily. This is the block where the Iberdrola substation is behind. These are all labelled and they're all property related. Some of them advertising in English, and the one right at the far end actually has an English name, HBS, even though it doesn't appear to be English in any other way. A bit like Be Free, I suppose. I show a picture of the manhole covers with Telefonica on because when I arrived at the end of February, all these were open and they were stuffing fibre optic cables down them like there's no tomorrow. So the future is fibre all around the resort, it would seem. And finally, behind the building where Iberdrola is, there are also two football fields. I showed you one in December. That was the one behind Costa Azahar 2. The one I can see from my apartment balcony has had some sports going on, run by Planet Switzerland, and they run, this is a picture from their website, they obviously run trips out to a number of places. Can't help noticing that the Marina D'or apartments one in the middle is the cheapest. I suppose that's a good thing. And they have tournaments on, and when I came in January there was a different set of tournaments on, and the football fields are in use again for those, so it looks like they're getting plenty of use. That's it for now. Don't forget, if there's anything you'd like me to go and have a look at so that you can see it too, please let me know.